Hello and welcome to the 9th video in my series on getting started with AutoCAD. My name is Chris, and in this video we're going to be talking about text styles as well as annotative text. Please note that I'm using AutoCAD 2015. Mine's going to look different than yours if you're not using 2015. There's my disclaimer. That out of the way, let's get started here. What I wanted to go over first was just how to bring up the dialogue to add or remove text styles from your drawing. In order to do that, you can type style on the command line here, and this brings up the dialog. Alternatively, you can head over to the Annotate tab on the ribbon and click this little arrow down in the bottom corner, and it will bring up the same dialog. You'll notice there's a new button here, and you can go ahead and click on that. We can add a new style. We're going to call this Style 1. That's a good one. I'm going to turn annotative text off. You'll notice this little symbol here is on text styles that are annotative. We're going to talk more about what annotative text styles mean, but for right now, we're going to just stick with a normal text style, a non-annotative text style. You can pick your font face. So let's say we want it to be Ravi. I have no idea what that is. Let's go ahead and pick our height. Let's say we want this to be 6-inch text, so that when we print at 1/4 inch scale, it's going to come in at 1/8 of an inch. And we'll go ahead and apply it and click close. And now we'll go ahead and you see here in our little drop down, style 1 is selected. So let's go ahead and make some text and test. Type that in. Let's go ahead and resize that a little bit so it's all on the same line. And there it is. That's fantastic. So now if we go to plot, and we say we're going to be plotting at, we're going to come back to plotting in another video. Let's say we're plotting at 1/4 inch, and we want to plot the extent. We want to center it. Go ahead and select that we want to use a PDF thing, that way it gives us a preview. We can see that this text, if you were to preview it, would be in fact 1/8 of an inch tall. So, that being said, let's go ahead and talk about annotative text now. Non-annotative text is pretty much exactly what you think it is. You drop text in, the text has a specific height in model space. That height scales just like everything else in your model, depending on the scale of your plot, of your view. What annotative text does for you is it actually changes the size of your text so that whatever scale you're printing at or you're plotting at, the text will always be the same height in paper space, regardless of how the rest of the drawing is scaled. So let's go ahead and create a new style here. You can type style, or again, you can click this little button there, and we're going to make a new text style here. We're going to call this style 2 is fantastic, and we're going to make it annotative. Now you'll notice here that this changes to paper text height. So what this is asking us to do is to determine how big that's going to plot on paper. So let's say we want it to be 0.125, it's 1/4 inch, right? And we want our text style to be something else, rod. There we go. I have no idea what rod is. I've never seen it in my life. Go ahead and click close. Style 2 is now selected, and you can see this looks like a scale, an architectural scale that's kind of head on. I wondered what this was for years, and I've come to the conclusion that's what it's supposed to be. So let's go ahead and draw some text in here, and I'm going to just drop that in, and we'll say test. So here's our same test. And you can see that these are about the same height. And the differences are there because of the font face, I believe. So these are going to plot about the same height, but this is again because we're working at 1/4 inch. Now, this little dialogue down here, this section down here, is very, very important when it comes to annotative scaling. This little object here shows your annotative objects. In this case, there aren't any annotative objects that are different scales, so that doesn't affect anything. This little button here adds annotative scales to your drawing as you change annotative scales. This button here, along with the rest of the dialog, lets you define the scale that you're viewing things at. So what we're going to say is we want to view this at 1:1. Now what that means is that 1 inch in paper space equals 1 inch in model space, and vice versa. you'll notice that nothing changed, right? So the question is, why is the annotative scale not working? And the reason is because if we go to our properties here, you can see that the annotative scales that are available on that object are 1/4 inch only. So this is incidentally where if you turn that off, you'll notice that that disappears entirely. This lets you control what text is showing up in your drawing based on the scale that you're viewing your drawing at. So let's go ahead and change this back to 1/4 inch. You'll see our text is back. It's not deleted, it's not gone. You can take a deep breath and relax, but it is only available at that one scale. So let's go ahead and switch back to 1/4 inch and let's add some different scales to it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this button on, and what this will do is this will universally, across my entire drawing, adjust the scale of all objects that are annotative so that they contain the scales that I'm viewing in my drawing, whatever annotative scale I've got set here. This could be a big can of worms for you if you control your drawing by scale size. Just beware. Just be super careful about it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this to an 1/8 inch, and you'll notice that this text gets bigger. This one doesn't, because this is a non-annotative text, but this one effectively doubled in size. And the reason why it doubled in size is because as you go to a smaller scale, like from a 1/4 inch to an 1/8 inch, the rest of the drawing is going to get smaller. And so the text, in order to compensate for that, needs to get bigger. Now you'll notice that when we select this, we've got all these different text options. You can see this is the 1/4 inch back here, and this is the 1/8 inch here. And you can adjust the location of where text is in a specific scale based on the scale factor that you have currently set. So that what that means is that when I'm working at a 1/4 inch, this is where this text will live. When I'm working at an 1/8 inch, this is where this text will live. I hope that wasn't too confusing. I know there are a lot of people out there who are kind of terrified of annotative scaling. I promise you that as you get more familiar with annotative scaling, that you will be able to be more productive and more capable with AutoCAD. It's a really powerful tool. It's a really fantastic tool once you get your head wrapped around it. Don't be put off by the first couple of times you use it and scales look like they're going out of control. Play with it, get it figured out, and master the thing, because otherwise you're going to be spending a lot of time with non-annotative text, which can really screw up your drawings, especially if you need to change scales. Anyhow, that's it for this video. If you have any comments or questions, leave them in the comments below. If you thought this video was fantastic, go ahead and like it. If you thought it was life-changing, go ahead and subscribe, and I will change your life some more. And that's about it. Thanks for watching.